The desert wind moved like a living thing, carrying with it the scent of sand, secrets, and something far older than either. Travelers spoke of shadows that glided without badies, voices that murmured beneath the dunes, and a lamp buried so deep in myth that even the bold hesitated to whisper its name. Yet legends, no matter how ancient or dangerous, have a way of calling out to those destined to uncover them. It was said that the Jinn were born long before gods were named, forged from smokeless fire and impossible intention. Their stories stretched back to a time when the world was still shaping itself, and humanity was little more than a dream whispered into existence. Some texts describe them as tricksters, others as guardians, but the oldest accounts hinted at something far more enigmatic: beings who live between realities, where light and shadow intertwined. For centuries, scholars, mystics, and wanderers tried to define the Jinn. Ancient Arabian lore depicted them as creatures of will and chaos. Pre-Islamic carvings showed their shapes shifting like flickering embers. In the oldest scrolls, their names were blurred, their powers uncertain, as if the writers themselves feared giving them form. And somewhere within those contradictions, a question emerged. What if myth was not invented, but imperfectly remembered? It was this question that led to the whispers said to echo from a forgotten lamp discovered in a collapsed temple far from any charted map. The artifact was small, carved from obsidian, warm to the touch, even in the cold of night. Those who found it claimed that when held close, a voice murmured from within. Some called it imagination. Others called it temptation. All felt its presence. In the modern world, the legend resurfaced, like a storm breaking open the sky. Videos appeared online claiming to show silhouettes moving behind curtains, with no person there. Late-night callers on obscure radio shows spoke of waking to soft breaths in the dark, and dreams where a shadow offered ancient knowledge in exchange for a simple promise. Psychologists explained it as sleep paralysis, a mind creating monsters in the silence. Parapsychologists argued four-dimensional bleed-through energies the brain was never meant to perceive. And yet, none could ignore that all the accounts shared one detail. A whisper, soft and deliberate, as if speaking from inside a hollow chamber. Some insisted the lamp was not a lamp at all, but a metaphor, a vessel for altered consciousness, a symbol of unlocking something deep within the human mind. If the Jinn existed not as creatures, but as gateways to hidden awareness, then the shadow following them might be the part of humanity long forgotten its potential, its darkness, its unfinished evil. The shadow itself was always described the same way. A presence rather than a figure. It lingered at the edges of vision, stretching like smoke, but never dispersing. The brave interpreted it as knowledge waiting to be claimed. The fearful saw it as a warning not to seek what should remain concealed. Stories throughout time painted the Jinn both as deceivers and enlighteners, beings whose gifts carried consequences too heavy for most mortals to bear. Perhaps the shadow was both temptation and revelation intertwined. The whispers grew bolder. Some said they heard languages older than the world. Others heard their own thoughts spoken back to them with clarity, impossible for any human voice. And then there were those who heard something else entirely. Truths that contradicted myth. Truths that unraveled long-held beliefs about power, creation, and the nature of reality itself. What if the Jinn were not simply spirits? What if they were remnants of a forgotten era? Entities that existed before the boundaries of myth were drawn. If the whispers from the lamp were fragments of knowledge from that time, then they could reshape everything humanity thought it understood about mythical beings. The shadow hinted at a shift on unraveling of old stories, a rewriting of ancient truths. Some scholars warned that tampering with such lore could fracture more than belief, but others argued that understanding these whispers was essential, that humanity stood on the edge of a revelation capable of changing its place in the universe. If myths carried pieces of forgotten history, then the Jinn might be the last link to a truth bigger and darker than any legend. And so the lamp's stories spread, igniting curiosity and fear in equal measure. Those who sought it were driven by the hope of answers or the thrill of power. Those who avoided it claimed that no good could come from stirring shadows that had slept for thousands of years. Yet the whispers persisted, calling out to anyone willing to listen. The Jinn's shadow now lingers in the minds of all who hear the tale. Some believe it is a warning, urging caution before humanity touches forces beyond comprehension. Others believe it is a guide, pointing toward potential long buried within the human spirit. And there are those who believe it is a reflection or reminder of what humanity once was, or what it could become. So the question remains, when the lamp speaks, will you listen, or will you turn away, fearing the truth that lies within the quiet, ancient whisper of the Djinn's shadow? If this story stirred your imagination, your curiosity, or even your fear, dive deeper into the mysteries waiting beyond the veil. Subscribe, explore, and join the journey into the unknownly on DKR Mystica.